Hey, welcome. So today I'm going to show you how to customize your own skin on Minecraft. And this is through my customization style. It will variously change depending on what styles you prefer. But for now, I'll show you what I prefer. So right over here, we're gonna select the Alex model since it has the thin arms. I like the thin arms. Anyway, so usually we need to figure out a pattern here to do. So let's say we want a white collar shirt. So we're gonna start, let's see, what's a good skin color to do? About like right there, is that good? That should be fine. So right here, we're gonna go free tall and then make them look like little gloves. Alright. There we go. And then, here's where an interesting part comes in. You can either do a full sleeve from all the way up, or what I like to do is a shirt and then a undershirt beneath it that acts as a sweater. And what I mean by that is, let's see, we'll split it up. So let's say you want a light gray sweatshirt right here. We'll just add it right here like this. Alrighty. And then we're gonna add the main shirt, which I'll do a different color than white. Let me do a pinkish color, or purple, I guess. That looks better. Alright. Looking good so far. Just gotta undo a little mistake right there. Gotta fill in these. Alright. And then now for this, you're gonna paint this the top color of the shirt. You're gonna grab the skin color, reset the view, make sure you go to the top to add this. And this is completely optional. You can either go to here, or if you want a larger neck area, you can extend it like that. I personally like doing it this way, so therefore it feels like a normal t-shirt. Alright, then let's see here. For the pants, we're gonna do a cyan color, and then we're gonna add it up to here. And we do this because if we added it to the legs only, it would mix and match, and we don't want that. So right now we're gonna do that. And then for the legs, we're gonna use our paint bucket to fill that in. Alright, there we go. Not bad at all. That actually looks pretty good. And now for the undershirt, you can add in this part of it. Make sure to add in this part as well. Another thing you want to avoid is pixels that hang over. For example, these are shown on the top, but not the side. Always make sure to cover them up so it doesn't look misplaced. So right now we have a good little starting point, minus the Alex head of course. So we can change this easily. So right now, I feel like we should do a colorful hair color. So what is a good one to do? We'll choose a light blue color, something to give it some more harmony with the rest of the vibe. So let's just fill it in for now. Right here, right there. And we can also do it right about here. That looks good. Actually, I'll get rid of that so we can do it that way. That looks better. And then for the eyes, let's clear out this section first, so therefore we don't have two sets of eyes. So you grab your white and you put it one down from the bottom, or one up from the bottom, right there. And then for the eye color, let's do some green color. Let's see, a very bright green. Maybe a darker green color to fit in with the rest. Maybe this will work. Yep, right there. Maybe a bit darker on that one, and perfect. And then here we go. Can add in the little bangs. Perfect. That looks incredible, actually. Just gotta do it like that. There we go. And then let's fill this in. And then we're gonna add 2 layers right there. We're going to go 2 up and then 1 here. Actually, let's get rid of that. And then let's fill it in with the skin color. And there you go. That looks very nice. We can also do that to give it more feel. Alright. This is coming along nicely, I feel. So also we can add more of the hair color. Let's go 5 down and then 1 here. And then let's fill that in. So right now you have your very light blue hair. Then we can go like this, and there we go, add it like that. Normally I would fill this in, but it would just look weird. That means your hair is facing through your arm, so your arm needs plenty of room to rest. Let's see here. And it looks like our little sweater got replaced, but that's okay, we can change that. So there we go. Let me fix this so it doesn't seem out of place. We're gonna add 2 layers and then that. So there we go. Let me change it to the shirt color. Alrighty. Looks like we'll have to add that then. Just edit that. Perfect. That looks amazing. Then you can fix this little error by just filling it in here. Make sure to leave the sweater here. Alright, and looks like we have the basic outline for our skin. And look at that, that is just incredible. So thank you guys for watching. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, let me fix this up a bit. So right now we're gonna add the shoes. And the shoe styles really depend. Sometimes you'll want to do boots, depending on the skin. But for my shoes that I do, I add in a white trim. And then we're going to do a color, let's say red, just give it a more colorful feel. We're going to add it like this, with 2 over here, starting to look like one of those Chucky dolls. So let's just keep adding. And always make sure to get every little detail here on the sides. Because when you run with the skin on, you want to make sure that nothing's missing. And then for the insides of the shoes, we'll use a lighter color. And then let's have some socks. So for the socks, it's simple. Just do a straight line on the second row, and then fill in these small holes here. Alright, this kind of looks like Sonic almost. Alright. And there we go, perfect. So, right there, that's a pretty good outline. So now you can really choose what you want to work on first. Usually people work on the head first just to get it out of the way. But for now, I'm going to work on the arms so I can show you my style of styling, if you will, or shading. So we're going to grab this color, work with this first, and we're going to grab roughly, let's say, 6 shades of this. Then we're going to grab this color, move it all the way dark, move that to the dark, keep that one the same, move that one lighter, move that one lighter, and then move that one really light. Alright, perfect. So now, can get a bit out of hand. You place 2 dark pixels right here. You grab this tool, and this you can use to shape right there, like that. Actually, let me get rid of that. I have a better idea for this. Perfect. And then you want to cover the 2 pixels you just made like a dome. Make sure to fill in the little side pixels so nothing gets left behind. There we go. That looks better already. And then this is already the same color, so we can make that as is. And then now, draw a 2x3 square here. Do the same on all sides, except for the inside. You want to keep that the same. Make sure to fill in these shoulders as well. So right now, it looks pretty good. And we can update this more by putting in the second color, so not the darkest, just the second one. And then we cover that up with a dome as well. And then, if you really want, you can go up here and fill in this. I like to do this just because it gives more of an opportunity for shading. And then you can also fill it in like that. Grab your other color, make it a dome, and then you can connect them like so. There we go. And now, so that should be the same color. We got that, perfect. You can go ahead and grab onto this. Let me switch to a different color. Perfect. So right there, you can switch to these colors that I like. Just make sure to fill in the side pixels as well. And then grab your light shade and put it in the middle of it. Not exactly sure if this is the right design style. It looks pretty close, so there you go. There's the top of the arms. And now we work on this part. So it's pretty much the same style, but there are a few more elements. So when getting the middle arms, you usually want to make 3 pixels tall for the hands and 4 pixels tall for the top shoulders. And this is important because you always need, so let's say 5 or more of these pixels, but it has to be an odd number. And this is because when we go to put it in as a dark shading, let's change that. When you go to put it in as a dark shading, I will show you in a second, you need to add in some shoulders right there. So that's just temporary, let's erase that for now. So right now you place 2 of the darkest pixels on the inside, top and bottom. Then you grab this, just like before, make it like a dome. Connect those while you go. Don't forget about the side pixels, just make sure everything's covered in there. Let's see, so 2 on that, 2 on that. Perfect, fill that in. Alright, and then you also place 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 there. Then you grab this color, and then you fill it in like so. And make sure to get the top and bottom parts, this is important. Alrighty. So let's see, just gotta finish that up. Alright, everything looks good. Let me finish that. That looks amazing. So now as the shoulders I mentioned, this is for the elbows. So when you go to bend your arms, you'd expect this little thing of shading to appear. And you can change this. I like to shade them. So therefore you're not using 2 of the same color. And then since we made this pattern, we can go ahead and put a darker shading since they connect. So there you go. And now let's grab a brighter color like this. Then we are going to fill this in since we need to make it a dome and cover it. And then with that, we can finally go all the way up here and stylize it. So like we did for the top, we're gonna add free on the edge. Alright, and then free here, free there. And then we're gonna add some design in the middle. It looks pretty good. Now here's the part where it could get a little interesting. You can go with this design that I have, which we're going to do for now. Or in some cases, since you made this, you can go back on it and make a pattern like this, and then connect these. So therefore it looks more original. So it looks more like an actual thing, if you will. And the more I think about it, I'm actually going to do that. So let me connect these, make a shading for it. So therefore it looks almost like gloves. And since we did it for that, I'm also going to go back and do it for here. So I'll only need a few of the colors, just the main ones. That should be good. Alright, and then we're going to go up and add here and here. We're going to add it across. So therefore they're touching. Alright. Then we grab the dark shade. And just like last time, just put it over there. Then you grab this shade. And then, just like the one below, you would move it over. So, I like this design better the more I think about it. Let me just go ahead and connect it right here. And right there. That's already connected. That's already connected. I really like these styles. So now that we have that, we're going to actually go back and add in the brighter tiles right over here. So those should match. It looks like they don't. So we can go ahead and fix this by selecting this color and fixing the little airs in between. So let's just fill in these squares right here. Alrighty, perfect. And then those squares are fixed, so now we're going to use a lighter shade of gray right about here, just for the top part. Alright, and there we go. Looks good. And that actually looks a bit better. Let me go ahead and change that since we did on the top. So now I should do it on the bottom. Alright, and usually you would make a darker line right here to signify that the layer is ended and you're adding a limb there. But we're going to ignore that step for now. Alright, now for the hands. This part is pretty easy and fun to do, I will say. So you just want to grab a few shades and then make it dark. You don't want to make it extremely dark, otherwise you end up with an abomination of colors that you can't control. So right now, this is a good shade of it. You don't want to make this shade too dark, like right here, because then it makes no sense. So just grab the original color. Perfect. Alright, and then just like before, you're going to cover it with a little dome, and you're going to add one down. So it makes a little T-pose, if you will. Grab that. Make sure to add the side pixels so everything looks good. Go on the underside, change that as well. I just gave my guy rocket thrusters, okay. And then right here, this should be the same color, yep. So now, just grab these colors right here. Go ahead and make that pattern. So now, you just have to do a 2x2 and then fill in the little squares here. So everything looks good. Go on the underside, thin line right here and here. The pattern connects all the way through. And then for this, same thing we did up here, but I'm going to do it a bit differently. We're going to do it here and here, and then connect those. Alright, here and here, and then sometimes if you go a bit too light with the shading, it can look pretty weird. So I feel like that's a good place to stop with the shading for now for the hands. So as you can see, it's a massive upgrade to what we had before. And I quite like this. So now we can continue the style. Since the shirt is the same color, first we're going to get rid of this. I'm gonna get this part out of the way, just do a dark pattern up here, and then grab the lighter one. There we go. Let's see. I'm gonna grab that color, blend it with that, and then grab that color right there and mix it with that. So that looks pretty good on the shading, if I do say so myself. It looks a bit rushed, maybe, but that's how you would do it. Now that the sweater's out of the way, we can get done with the shirt. So it's the same color. Just go ahead and grab the same colors you used. Make sure to get it in the proper shading as well. So in order, I like to do dark to light, so therefore I can see what I'm doing. But light to dark also works, or just any other pattern, but don't get too confused. So now right here, we're going to add a dark pixel here, 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 and here. Make sure to add those odd numbers, so therefore you don't end up with colliding pixels. I made that mistake before, and it was super annoying to fix. So right now, just gotta fix all of that. Perfect. And then add some stripes right there. We're actually going to continue right here by doing that. I think this looks pretty interesting. Yeah, that does look interesting. And then we can fill in this, since this is going to be the side of the arms. We need that shade to be a bit darker than the rest. So right now, we can just get rid of that. Add pixels here and here, so therefore it looks good. And here's the reason why I wanted to choose different colors. If you have the same color here that adds up to here, the shading is really hard to mix. You're going with two colors back to back. So imagine this was the same color, the shading would look weird. So now we have this design, it's looking pretty good. So now you're going to add in these pixels right here, just to cover the dark ones. There we go. And now that should be the same color, yep. So there are a variety of ways you can do the shirt pattern, and none of them are wrong. So what I like to do, we're gonna add two dark pixels up here, followed by, well, let's see. We're going to add pixels up like there, and then I'm going to add in some dark pixels right here under the hair. Add in this, add in those, cover that up. Actually, we're going to leave a 2 pixel wide gap right there. And for this, just go like that, you'll be fine. cover that up like that. That looks pretty good. You can cover this up like that. It may look a bit weird, so make sure to add in those odd pixels. Use them to your advantage. And there we go. So I like the way this is turning out. Looks pretty interesting. There we go. And of course you can change the style of the shirt if you want. So if you want more of this style look, you can do that too. And we can do that by simply clearing the shirt like so. And then we can just follow the pattern along. So just add in pixels up here, make sure to add them here. And just to keep this all going, we can also add in right there and here, as well as right there. Perfect. And then for the shading, it really depends. Try aiming for the lighter shades of the shirt, so like more of the stomach area. So it can be up here and right there. And then the lighter part, that looks pretty good. Try to blend it in right here. And then, let's see. We could do it like that. That'd be interesting to do. Just try to aim for a bit of consistency. So, I think that works pretty well. That's pretty even on the shirt. I don't really like how the sweater turned out, so I'm changing it to that color. It looks okay. I can't say that it's amazing, but we can change this by doing a different shade of the dark, so that works. Then we're also going to, let's see, I'm actually going to use the darkest part of the gray in order to do this. There we go, and it may not look like anything changed, which I know that's what it looks like, but now we can finally switch over, and there we go. Gives it more of a light gray kind of vibe. And now with the skin, you grab this part right here along the arms, and just add in, let's see, what part? Sorry, right there in the corner. Add in that part right there to give the neck a bit of shading. Alright, and that is the torso so far. I'm gonna do the hair last, but right now that means we can start focusing on the pants. So let's go ahead and do that. So as always, get a few shades of whatever color. In this case, it's a cyan-y-like color. And then right here, we're going to add in a darker shade of it right here, right there. Going for a light shade. That looks pretty good. Alright, and then add 4 pixels right here, like so. We're actually going to change that. It looks a bit too dark. There we go. And then you can change it right here. Perfect. Then you can add them, let's see, right over here. Yep. I'm gonna use the secondary color just to add in a little side view of it. Alright, now we can start working on the pants. So usually for this you want to mix and match, but mainly try to blend the colors together. So right here we can do that, and there we go. Perfect. Then we have the basics for our legs. So just fill it in as normal. And now this part, you'll probably have to get another darker shade of it, but we can do that later. Alright, just go around the edges, make sure all the edges are covered, and the in-betweens. Perfect. Alright, and there we go. So it looks pretty interesting so far. I'm actually going to go ahead and connect this like that, and then you can connect these like so, which then gives you the ability to use the darker shade. Just add it like that, and there you go. And that should be the same color. Yep, it is. Alright, so right now we're gonna add in the kneecaps, just like we did to the elbows. Just gonna add in the knees. So this is free, it's perfect. Add in 2 lines. I would do 2 lines for this, but right now it looks pretty good. And since it looks like we aren't doing the joint shading, we'll just do the normal shading all around. So that means we can just connect these lines right here, like so. Old Navy should really hire me. So let's see. There we go. That looks good. And then you can connect the points right here. Make sure to add in those. Alright, and this is the part where you might need a darker color. Personally, I like to use a darker color of shading, but that's just my opinion. So right there we have an interesting pattern going on. Let's duplicate the same with the rest of this. Alright. Alright, and that looks pretty much good, actually. Just gotta make sure to add in the designs right here. As always, make sure to cover these up. And then connect them together like so. Alright, perfect. That looks pretty good. Now for the darker color shading, just grab a darker color and just put it on there, like so. It looks better than having a spiral of whatever this is. So there you go. That looks pretty interesting. We can change it back to our original color since we won't use it anymore. And now we can finally work on this. So go ahead and add these 2 colors right here along the edges, like so. I know it may not seem like much at first, but it'll transform. Let's see. Just gotta make sure the side pixels are also being used. And then at the top, just go ahead and cover those up. Now we switch over to the lighter shade of it, which we can do like so. And it looks like I made a bit of an error when I first started making this, or first started shading. I accidentally grabbed one more shade of light when it should have been a shade of dark. But that's okay, it's an easy problem to fix. It's not like you have to redo the entire skin. So there we go. That looks perfect. Lines up well with all of the lines. It fits in well with the style. So now we're going to add in the shoes. So go ahead and work on this one shade at a time. So right now, what you're gonna do is just this right here. we're gonna add in a line thing. So this is gonna stay the same as the normal pattern where it's dark on the inside. But we're also gonna add in corners right here. And I'll show you why in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and add in those corners. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now for the inside, we're going to want a slightly darker shade, but make sure to keep the light gray here. Alright, that looks good. So now we can grab this, turn it to a lighter shade, put on the inside of here. And there we go. And then for the inside of there, you can just grab the other gray and put it in there. Therefore, the socks look very shiny and new. But if you wanted a shinier type of sock, or perhaps just a more detailed style, just go ahead and add those to the bottom. Grab onto that color, do there, do the same with that one, and there you go. There are your socks. Now we can work on the shoes. Same thing as always, just make sure to do one color at a time. So right now we're going to do that. That's a bit too dark for the shoe color. That didn't really change anything. Okay. Alright, there we go. And just like we did for the socks, you're going to follow the same pattern. So just add in the corners here, and then add in the rest for the inside of it. Alright, there we go. Just got to make sure the insides are full. Perfect. Then grab a slightly darker shade of it and replace all of this. Oh, sorry. You need to keep those free pixels right there. They'll come in handy. Alright. So now, go ahead, fill in these corners. That looks pretty good. And now we can just add in a lighter shade of the red. Let's go ahead and grab that while we're at it. I feel like it's a pretty good shade of red. On second thought, we might just need to make a lighter shade of this. There we go. And then we can just add in that right there. Maybe the other way around. That looks good. And then right here, we can also add in those. So it looks pretty good. Just add that in right there. Alright. We can add that in. It's looking pretty good so far. But, yeah. May go ahead and grab these real quick. That looks better. And now for these shoes, you can just add more of a pattern like that. Just make sure to leave the red and you're good to go. So that looks good. We can go into here now. And as always, just grab the red, stuff it in the bottom there. And I'm gonna have to change it according to the color of it. I thought it would match up like the sock, but sometimes you just need a lighter shade of the red. There we go. And now we're gonna add in the darker tones right here. There we go. Second font, let me do that and put it right there against the sock line. Perfect. So now you're left with this, matches up relatively well, looks pretty good. Now for the shoes, we can just grab the light gray for here, match it up, add it along the sides and the bottom of it. Perfect. And let's see, instead of wasting the time doing that, just make this a darker shade of gray. And we're gonna follow the same basic principle we did for the arms and legs. So we're gonna grab a darker shade of that and put it right there. Same for this. Then you're gonna grab this color and connect it like that. Let's do that way real quick, right there, perfect. And then I'm gonna grab a slightly darker shade of that color and then connect it with this right here. So on second thought, it looks like I have to redo the shoes right there. Perfect. Let me just do a darker shade of it real quick. Alright, perfect. And then we can add a slightly darker version of the gray to be there. So the shoes match up relatively well. I'm not saying it's the best design, but it'll get you there. Another design you can do, let's just go against everything we did and remove the shoe entirely. There we go. Another thing we can do, grab a shade of gray that's pretty much dark. Not too much dark. You still want your shoes to look nice. There we go. So now let's do it to the same side we did. Grab white to erase all of the other pixels. Then we'll make a light shade of gray for right about here. So make sure to add in those side pixels, the side lines, everything. And there you go. So now you can do a mix and match of patterns. I'll go ahead and do that. And then you can grab this, go ahead and do that. So it looks pretty good. Then grab a slightly darker version right there. Just make sure to add that in the pixels right there. So those connect pretty well. And then for right here, just add a slightly darker shade. So not too much, you still want to tell the difference between the two. Alright, that's a barely noticeable difference, but it looks good. Those small details are what counts. Alright, so that looks pretty good, I will say. The shoes depend on what you're really going for, but it could work. Alright, so now let's focus on the head. And right now you can see we made a huge difference. It no longer looks like a 1 pixel skin. So this part can be a bit tricky. So right now just focus on the head and then go for the body layer. And wow, okay, ignore that. So right now we can just grab 7 shades of this. Then just get it to be pretty light and dark. There we go. Now, here's where the fun part comes in. So, right over here, just need to make sure we have the same color, which we do, that's good. We can erase that, and then let's go for some blush cheeks, never hurts. There we go, amazing. So right now, let's do the eyebrows. Perfect. So let's focus on the head first. And this is quite simple to do, so all you have to do is just, let's see here, create a basic outline of the head. Alright, and then connect the corners of it right over here. Okay, so you connect the corners of it with a different shade. Sorry about that. And there you go. Make sure to add in this right over here. And there is also the bottom of the head we have to worry about, so I will make sure to fill that. Alright, so that looks good as of right now. And if you want to add anything like a hair bow, now would be the time. So this is how I would do it. Let me put on the overlay so I don't have to redo any of it. I would just do that, fill in the top two pieces, do the bottom, and normally this is what it would look like on the overlay itself. So you would draw it here, and then you would draw this on the overlay, except for this pixel right here. And I'll show you why actually. Let me do a quick version of it. Add it right there. There's your hair bow. It looks nice and fluffy, a little H. Let me get rid of the hair bow real quick. Alright. Then let's connect those right over here. Connect all of that. We also have to connect all of this, like so. That looks pretty good. Then connect like that, make it look good, nothing too fancy or spicy. This is the part where it gets interesting, so what I like to do the odd and even method, and I'll do it by demonstrating. So we're gonna go one up and connect it to 3. And then we're gonna draw a line of 4 right here. And we're gonna copy the pattern, but we're gonna go from here instead and draw 3, like that. And we can continue this, just make sure to keep it even on these sides. And yes, there will be a part where it doesn't work, and that's okay. So right now you have the option of putting the hair gleam on here, on the opposite side. I personally put it on here, just because it looks better, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and put the 3 over here, 3 over there, 4 facing this way, and then 3 over there. So there you go. It looks pretty good right now. I'm actually going to change this to the lighter shade we picked out, so therefore I can do a bit more detail. Right about here, I can add in the detail right there. And that looks pretty good. Alrighty. And then with the final shade we have, just feel free to go in the middle of these. Alright, that looks good. Everything looks perfect for the moment. And now in between here, you can change these to act like this right over here. So it's just a suggestion, don't have to do it. Let's go ahead and change that right now. Add in this part as well. This part. Perfect. And then it really doesn't matter, but you can also style these. We can go back and make the eyebrows a different color. Just make sure the eyebrows don't bleed through, otherwise the eyebrows look like that. Your character is going to look like some ancient tiki warrior, which I'm pretty sure is cool, but you don't want in this scenario. Alright, there we go. And then, just like that, add in a bit here. And we can also add in the little details right here where they connect. That looks pretty good. Right over there, all the way over. Alright, perfect. And now we can do some shading. Just connect the dots where they line up. And then fill in the rest here. Grab your next shade of color, put it right there. That looks good. Alright. Then, now the tricky part. We can connect those. Then we connect these. This is no problem. The tricky part is getting the head correct. So there are various ways you can do this, but I'll show you mine. So go go 1 up, just make everything here look normal, and then you end it here. And then connect it in the form of some M's, go straight across here, and then put down 2 of those. So that should be the same color, which it is. That's good. Keep it right over here, right over there. We're gonna add in some color here, and just put it right there. So that is one way of doing it. I like this. It looks like a prismarine thing. It looks amazing. So let's go ahead and do some basic shading now. Alrighty. So we can go ahead by adding the boundaries of where we don't want the shading to go. And then we can add in that, add in here, and there, and then a tiny white dot right there. So therefore you're keeping the same pattern throughout. Doesn't look too bad, kind of looks magical in a sort of way. And now here's what we do want. So you're gonna grab this part from earlier and put it right there as a nose. And now for the eyes, gonna grab a shade of white, put it right there. Grab the green, make it slightly darker, put it right there. You're good to go. Perhaps the blush cheeks are a bit too pink, so we can tone it down a bit by making them a bit more like that. It's a bit hard to do properly, so I'm just gonna go ahead and avoid them altogether. Alright, and I think we need some darker eyes to go with this, just to feel with the whole vibe we're going for. That looks pretty good. I feel like that would work. So right now we can check our progress, and this is what we've done. So let's grab the dark shade of that, and right over here, just make sure those are different, which they are, so we got all of our color shades back. And then we can finally move on to this part. So you can get a rough outline of what to expect. Just make sure to add in some of the details right here. Perfect. And I'm actually going to get rid of the spiral process. I don't quite like the way how it looks. Alright, so now we have enough to estimate where we want to put everything. So just fill in these pixels. Looks pretty good. Go on the bottom of the hair pieces, including right here. And then for this, just put down everything right there. And then we can also make this to where, let's see, just go right down like that. Perfect. Alright, that looks better. Alright, and now that we have this, we can form a basic outline from it. So, of course, we're going to use some darker shades to get the point across. Add it right here so it doesn't mix and match. Some dark pixels here, as well as right over there. Alright, that looks pretty good. And then add in some dark pixels on the top row, right over there. Alright, and it looks to me like we've already got everything set out straight. So now we can just connect the pieces. There we go, that looks pretty good. And then just grab it, move it so it's shiny looking. Same thing for this, just cover it with that instead. Alright, now for this can be where you also want to do a different style of it. So right now we can do a design like this. Looks good. So let's move over to there, as well as right over here. Then you can make a design right there. So it looks pretty good. Not the best, but it works. And then add in some designs right here for the hair. Just make it look like as magical as it can be. Alright. Then you grab this part. Oh, we're gonna redo that. That looked terrible. Alright. We're gonna grab the darkest part we can, which would be the eyebrows. And then we're going to put them at connecting areas right there. Alright, and make sure they're also opposite from each other, so therefore they're not banging into anything. So like right here, this works out perfectly just because it's a slanted slope. If it was straight, we could do this, but it's slanted, so it works. Alright. And then let me grab that light color. also put it here. Why not? That looks pretty good. Alright, so there is the skin as of right now. Looks decent. You can always change it to your liking later on, but I feel like this is a good place for people to start. But now we can edit it more. So let's go ahead and add an overlay to this. And we already have the colors ready, so that works out perfectly. So start by adding some details to the sides. And a lot of people may use Skindex or a different website altogether, but I currently like this one just because it's easy for me to navigate. So let's see. Alright, so this could work. I just need to make sure that I'm placing it correctly. Alright, and yeah, that pretty much looks good. I skipped one. There we go, it's meant to be 4. Alright. Just add one here, add one up there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that looks good. Try adding in the aqua pixels right over here. And you want to leave these C-shaped curves alone, just because if you do fill them in, it starts looking like that. It can get a bit too much. You want to add in some detail, like the hair is 3D looking. Alright. And right over here, we can still continue this a little bit. So right now we can move it over there. I don't know if that's the same color that I used. It looks to be. Oh, it was not. Okay. Alright, so it's apparently the same pixel. Alright, perfect. Now we can add in that part over there. Add in this. Try not to add in the C's right now. Alright, that looks pretty good. And now we can also erase this overlay just to see if it would look better. In which case, it could, but it's really up to you of how to do this. But I feel like having the overlays right here is a pretty good start. Perfect. Now we can remove the head, just make sure everything is straight and correct, which it is. You can go ahead and grab that, put it over like so. And sometimes you can even do the eyebrows just to make it give more of an illusion. I feel like that's a bit too much, so that'll do right there. And yeah, that pretty much works. Now we just need to fill this in right over here. So go ahead and add your aqua pixels over here. And then right over here, it looks like that's going to be a different color altogether. Make sure those colors line up, which they do. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. Perfect. So it looks good. And then another thing we can do up here, add in some little bun type effect going on. And we can do that by simply adding pixels right here and here, grabbing the next shade of it and moving it down a bit, and there we go. Doesn't interfere with the overlay in the back, and it still looks reasonable. So right now you have a pretty good looking skin that you can use. But we're still gonna add some more details. Let's go to the back, put on the overlay. Alright. And then it pretty much depends on where to do this, but just feel free to do it anywhere right there. Connect those, connect these. And therefore, when you put the arms over, it looks like the hair is fluffy almost. Alright. Go ahead and add the bottom shade, then work your way up. Just don't do it all the way. So like right there, that's a good place to stop. So you don't want to do it all the way, you just want to make sure that it smooths into it. In theory, I could remove this part, but let's see. I'll remove this part just because it's slanted, so therefore it gives off the impression that there's actually hair in the back. Alright. So that's how you do that. And now for the arms. So the arms can be a bit difficult when you first start. So just grab onto the color scheme right now. Make sure to separate your colors so you don't accidentally mix. And then just turn on the overlays. So you're going to add the 2 dark gray pixels right here. And then, just like before, you're going to add a little dome type effect. There we go. Just make sure everything's finished. Alright, make sure to add in that. And then add in a dome shaped thing here. Alright, and everything looks good. So you can either leave it off here. Another thing that I do would be the rolled up sleeves. So we're gonna go ahead and try that out. Again, this is completely up to you. You can decide if you want to do this or not. So we'll go over and do that. Switch to the brightest color since it's on the edge. And then switch over there. So that's an example of some puffy sleeves, but for the rolled up ones, just simply add pixels on the back and forth. So therefore it looks like the sleeves are rolled up. And we're also going to do it for the top shirt just because it's rolled away. Just to make sure the shirt gives a nice 3D feel to it. Alright, so again, make sure to cover the colors. You don't want accidentally mixing the colors. It'll ruin the skin. So, just like before, this is pretty easy. Just start by adding a dome shape effect. Alright, that looks pretty good. Go over here, do the same thing. Add in the dome. Connect those pixels. There we go. That looks interesting. And as always, we're going to do the rolled away sleeves. So just go ahead and do that. Gonna grab onto this color to finish the inside of the arms. And then I'm gonna grab the brightest color since it's on the outside. So in theory, we don't need the middle color, aka right over here or here. We just need those. Alright, so there you have it. It looks pretty good. I personally like this. It just shows that the sleeves are 3D. And now to verify our work, just click off the overlays and make sure that each part is individually finished. So for the purple parts, it should just be a crown type piece, which it is. And then for these parts, it's a bit hard to see with the background, but they are connected, so that is good. Alright, and then turn off the overlay there. Now we're going to work on the legs. Normally I do both legs at the same time, but I can't really do that since they overlap. So we're going to go ahead and grab onto these. Alrighty. So we're going to do the same technique again, rolled away sleeves. And now grab onto this, 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 and this. And this part's a bit different since the legs are a 4 wide. We can't really do the 3 wide anymore, but the legs will work just the same, so just refrain from doing 2 lengths of it. Just keep it on the one side, you'll be fine. And then grab the brightest shade possible right over there. Turn off the overlay, make sure everything looks good. Do it here, turn on the overlay. So 2 dark pixels, lighter ones on top to the side, connect them to the side, and then add these over here, right there, and over here. Go back, select that, and then the 2 brightest ones since they're the furthest away. And always make sure that the pixels connect to the correct colors. So you wouldn't want to mix, let's say, you wouldn't want to mix this color with like right here. It just looks a bit off unless you're going for a more armor or type vibe. Then it would look pretty good. So as always, just click on the overlay, make sure you got everything. Looks like we did for this. So we're gonna go ahead and leave the overlay on so we can do the shoe. And the shoes are pretty simple, so I I overcomplicated the shoes by a lot. So I'll go ahead and fix that by just fixing that part of the shoe that's just slightly noticeable. Then I'll also fix this part of the shoe, so therefore it's easier to do on a curfew. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and add in the pixels right here, so it gives more of a view to the shoe. Someone stop me. Anyway, so we're gonna keep adding that right over there, and again, just make sure everything looks good. You can even use past overlays to make sure you got everything. So grab the lighter part of it, work your way across, and then just connect. Same for the dark, put one on the front, the back, underneath connect, and then on the side connect. And there you go. So now we can look at our almost finished product here. There we go. It's looking pretty good actually. So let's turn off the overlay except for the stomach. And we don't necessarily need all the colors right now. But since we did the same for the pants, I'll go ahead and choose a darker theme right over there. That looks good. So go ahead and select this, select that, select this, and that. Alright, again, make sure that they don't mix and match. Alright, so there's not really much to do for the shirt here. I mean, you can theoretically add a little curve on the shirt right over there. Make sure everything looks good. So when you put on the rest of your skin, it looks like that. So not much of a noticeable difference, but like I said, there's not much to do with the shirt. I mean, let's get rid of this and try connecting it to the sweater, just because the shirt is a bit lumpy if you have a sweater on, so we can try that. Make sure the pixels are removed, which they are. And then just find the correct color. And yep, that's all there is to it. So go ahead, put that on. You can even look at the overlay right now. Looks like a cool suit of armor. Make sure everything's connected, hair looks connected, that's good. Now we can turn the overlay off, select our character, make sure everything looks good. I almost forgot to do the outline on the skin. Go underneath, and there you go. And we can also do this. I personally like adding this just because it gives it more of a hair look to it, if you will. So leave this blank, but then you can put it right here, and then also connect these pixels to those pixels. Alrighty. Not too bad, I will say. Not too bad. So therefore, you're giving it more of a hair look feel to it, if you will. So now we can put on our overlays. It looks decent enough, so that's pretty awesome. Just remove that, set it to hug. This way you can make sure that everything is detailed Right here we can see that the inside of everything under the arms, they're detailed as well. Striped pattern. There are several patterns you can do, but this is just an example of one of them. I like to do these stripes, or it looks like you're putting on several bandages or ropes, so it's a spring almost. Hair looks good with a prismarine vibe to it, I like that. Hands look good. Back looks good, everything looks good. Now we can turn on the overlay. So as you can see, the shoe outlines are extended because those are what shoes normally do. The pant legs are rolled up so it looks more realistic. And let's see. Something you can do if you really want is to add some depth to the sock. And that's pretty easy to do since you're only doing 2 lines of it. That's why some people don't do the sock, just because it looks out of place like that. So you can if you want to, but I would not recommend doing that. Set it to hug again, make sure all the overlays are correct. Pant legs are rolled up, hair in the back is good at an angle. Not too short, not too long. Sleeves are rolled up, shirt sleeves are rolled up. Hair is pretty decent right over there. Hair buns in the back. And you can add accessories if you would like. So as I showed you, you can do a hair bow or a flower crown. I might do a tutorial on that later, thanks to a very good friend of mine having one. And from there, everything looks good, really. So, yeah, there you go. You can always change the color of the shoes if you don't like, but it just looks interesting for red shoes. And it kind of fits the vibe almost. So, this gives off kind of a prismarine type feel, almost like an undersea explorer. So I feel like this is a pretty good stopping point. So here's your skin, the skin tutorial, if you will. So everything looks completed. As I said before, this is more of a stripe and spiral pattern. You can see the stripes all around here, as well as if you turn an overlay off, you can see stripes. And then the spiral, as you can see right here, if you turn that off, well, it looks like I changed that, so that's good. But spiral patterns are sometimes needed to add in detail, so therefore your shirts aren't bland. If you do a plain shirt, it's pretty hard to style without getting too much detail. But if your shirts have an item on it or something, you'll be fine. Alright. And yeah, that is pretty much everything. So all the overlays should hang off on something, unless it's the hair right here that I did. In which case, I did it that way, because if you put your hair here, it kind of looks like that, which could still work potentially, but it just looks like a bit too much. Alright, and there you go, guys. So skin is ready. I don't know what I'll name this one, but feel free to comment some suggestions for names. And yeah, maybe I'll do a tutorial about this again. Well, alright. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you learned.